Air of freedom at last as freed train passengers unite with family. National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons arrests woman for killing minor in Anambra. President Buhari presents 2023 budget to National Assembly. And on the foreign scene, death toll from Thailand children's daycare mass shooting rises to 35. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. And now to the details of the news. The remaining 23 victims of the Abuja-Kaduna train attack have reunited with their families in Kaduna following the release after over 6 months in captivity. One of the freed victims told Trust TV that words cannot describe how he feels being free after a harrowing experience in the hands of terrorists. Bello Musa reports.
Abdullah was greeted by dozens of neighbors and sympathizers who came to welcome him. He narrated his ordeal in the bush for 6 months.
We live in one environment under the trees, and we do take our meals 2 times a day, in the morning and in the evening. We take tuwo and soup, and sometimes with rice. That's all. It's very somehow undescribable, but the way we've seen it, how they used to preach to us, we are taking it as how they are taking it.
While thanking Allah for his release, he said it was harrowing and an unforgettable experience.
Oh, mashallah, I feel very happy, very comfortable. I can't forget this day in my life. And the first day I felt inside that bush, that was on 28 March 2022.
The relatives of Abdullah also expressed joy by seeing him after 6 months.
It was a very tedious, very difficult situation. So you cannot even imagine the situation that we have encountered. So people have been relatives, neighborhoods. Many people have been facing so many challenges. Even some people, because of the situation, have come across many issues.
It was a terrible moment, but we intensified prayers for his release, and God has answered our prayers. We thank Allah for his release, and we also thank people who helped us with prayers during our trying moment.
The family also commends the federal government for securing the release of their loved ones. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Similarly, President Muhammadu Buhari met with the 23 freed passengers of the March 28 Abuja-Kaduna train attack on Thursday at the Nigerian Defense Academy Hospital in Kaduna. Before boarding the NAF 001 back to Abuja from the Kaduna International Airport, the president made an impromptu stopover at the hospital to see the released victims. Buhari expressed deep appreciation to the Nigerian military for their brave service in securing the safe release of the hostages from terrorists. Before his detour to the hospital, President Buhari had commissioned cadets of 69 regular course Army, Navy and Air Force of the NDA in Afaka, Kaduna State. And in crime, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, in Anambra State has arrested a 37-year-old female suspect for child abuse and murder. Udeogu Chinelo is accused of inflicting grievous harm on a child, an offense prohibited and punishable under the Human Trafficking Act. The report.
The suspect, Udeogu Chinelo, who was arrested by NAPTIP operatives in a primary school in Awka, Anambra State, where she had earlier enrolled the victim, had gone to collect back the school fees she paid for the victim. While being questioned on the whereabouts of the victim, she disclosed that the victim had died. The suspect later led the operatives to the scene where she disposed the body of the victim. On arriving at the scene, the victim's decomposing body was found wrapped in a black nylon bag around Hezekiah Dike Crescent, Oka. The suspect claimed that the deceased victim is her granddaughter.
Confession where Mary Ndule Jana Kens.
The woman took the girl to school to register her. So when the girl was brought there, the teachers saw scars all over the girl's body that made them to invite the woman, oh, madam, come back. So you take this baby to hospital because of the scars we see on her body. The woman came back, took the child, and never came back again. So these people, being smart and by the special grace of God, started suspecting foul play, that they had to invite Napti. So when they came, they waited and waited, the woman didn't come. They lured her by telling her to come and now take the money you paid for this girl's school, as she's no more here again with us. She came back to collect the money. That was when she was nabbed.
The victim was reported to have died on the 29th of September. The suspect has been handed over to the police for further investigation. Reacting to the incident, the Anambra State Police PRO, Ikenga Tochukwu, said investigation is ongoing while the suspect is in police custody.
This is pure act of murder. How can you flog a child to death? And we will not sweep it under the carpet. We still let the members of the public know the outcome of this investigation. The woman in question is in our custody. The Commissioner of Police have ordered immediate transfer of this case to the Department of Criminal Investigation. A comprehensive and discreet investigation will be carried out for us to unveil and let the members of the public how come this woman has this child in her possession.
The PRO urged the public to report suspected cases of crime to the nearest police station.
Moving on to more stories, hundreds of flood victims in Wuroboki, a border community of Adamawa and Cameroon Republic, say they are yet to receive any assistance from government to help ameliorate the hardship occasioned by the flooding. The victims said the floods have washed away their farm produce, houses and other properties worth millions of naira. Trustee Visalis Lowang visited the border community and files in this report.
Even before the flood disaster, the victims, majority of them widows and less privileged, said they could barely feed as a result of the border closure. Madam Abari Omaru is one of the widows and also a victim. Her husband died and left her with 12 children and grandchildren.
I have lost my 2 farms as a result of this flooding. As I speak to you, me, my children and grandchildren sleep outside because our house have been washed away. We find it difficult to feed ourselves. The little capital that I have, which I do petty trading, is no longer available.
Despite this and other challenges, they said government is yet to come to their aid.
Nai masara, nai waike, nai sinkapaduka, bendoka kodeaba. Gayara manna pamadesu, gana makarantama, sunsaya, bande kudi school fees.
Our condition here is appealing. Flood rendered us harmless. My children no longer go to school because I cannot afford to pay for their school fees. I don't have capital to trade anymore. As you can see, we sleep outside as the result of the flood. We are appealing to the government to come to our aid and help us so that we can feed ourselves and take care of our domestic needs.
Sometimes, I shed tears when I look at these children of mine and grandchildren because of our situation. We have no one to assist us since after the demise of my husband. This flood has just added more hardships to our initial predicament. We really need assistance.
Meanwhile, the Executive Secretary of the Adamawa State Emergency Management Agency, Mohammed Suleiman, has assured of assistance to flood victims across the areas affected. From Yola, Salis Lawan, Trust TV News.
On health, Nigeria has recorded 961 suspected cases of cerebrospinal meningitis and 56 deaths in 32 states and the Federal Capital Territory this year. This was disclosed by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Director General of the NCDC, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, in a statement on Thursday, said the organization, with the support of partners, continue to work with affected states to improve surveillance given the underreporting of cases. He said the center also executed strategic prevention and control activities to strengthen preparedness, detection, and response to meningitis outbreaks. According to him, cerebrospinal meningitis is an epidemic-prone disease with cases reportedly or reported all year round in Nigeria. Moving away from that story, Governor Umar Zulum of Borno State has said that payment to clear the backlog of promotion arrears of civil servants will commence next year. He disclosed this during the swearing-in of the Borno State Civil Service Commission chairman at the Government House in Maiduguri. Governor Zulum, who lamented the inherited unpaid benefits they accumulated since 2016 during the biometric data capture, promised to reposition the civil service as captured in his 25-year development framework and 10-year strategic plan. He added that the state government will initiate the computerization of the Commission's record-keeping and retrieval system for effective performance of the Commission.
Areas, not any government can pay anything. You have to give me recommendations on how possible ways we shall phase out payments of promotional benefits. But at least each and every deserving civil servant must get these promotional benefits, one promotional benefits by January 2023, inshallah. And then on the issue of promotion, there's a lot of people in the civil servants that were promoted without recourse to the civil service rules and regulations. They are all sitting administrators, people of high integrity and sound managerial skills. I therefore ask you to bring to bear these qualities in your new assignment as the government, and people of Borno State expect nothing but the best from you. Let me at this juncture use this opportunity and enjoy the newly sworn in management of the Commission to, as a matter of urgency, put in place the modalities for conducting the first promotional examination in the Borno State Civil Service, public service. I hope that you will all add value for our rehabilitation and settlement drive by ensuring that we have a vibrant workforce that will fully drive the policy trust of this government. Our primary goal is speedy and enhanced recovery.
We shall be with you in this attitude of dispensing public trust. Your Excellency, we pledge and promise to discharge our mandates with absolute loyalty, decorum, and wisdom. Our experiences of over 4 decades of public service will be deployed to reposition the public service.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How firewood competes with gas in Abuja. Do stay with us.
Light up your light, oh man, the quality wire. Now which kind cable you gon' need to light up your house, oh man, the quality cable. Coleman quality, Coleman wire. Coleman durable, Coleman cable. Coleman tank, Coleman cable for any kind of project. Coleman, now Coleman be the come and see, now Coleman top your line. Now come and be the Baba. Now come and be the COLEMNA. Quality, quality. Put a bull. Oh yeah. Now come and be the Baba.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Trust News Update. Here's a look at some of our top stories. We told you that air of freedom at last as free train passengers reunite with family. We also told you that NAPTIP arrests woman for killing minor in Anambra State. Moving to more stories, President Muhammadu Buhari is at the National Assembly presenting the proposed 19.76 trillion naira budget for the 2023 financial year. The budget, which would be the last presented by the Buhari administration, is about 15.37% higher than the amount budgeted in 2022. As the world commemorates the Global Customer Service Week, key players have urged service providers to employ the use of data as a tool for efficient service delivery and business development. The call was made at stakeholders' session that brought together service providers from pension, banking, hospitality, power, among others. Christiana Modo Tinya tells us more.
The customer, they say, is king due to the cogent role they play in adding value to the development of micro, small and medium enterprises, which constitute the engine of economic development. Consequently, these service providers have gathered to prefer solutions to providing better customer experience across different sectors of the economy.
The major aim of Customer Experience Management Conference is just to explain the importance of customer experience, but in this year particularly, we are looking at customer data analytics. And if you look at customer data, it has become a very important thing for every organization to make sure they have this so that they can manage people as expected. So now if you apply appropriate data analytics, be it in banking, be it in financial sector, be it in insurance, be it even in getting painting your house or what have you, if you do that, it will expose those data that you need. So it's very, very important for companies to make sure that they embark on appropriate data analytics.
Business development experts said there are factors that business owners must consider to achieve better results.
I've been here for 10 years and I had good and bad experiences, but afterwards we all were able to laugh, shake a hand, and those guys are still our guests and we are still their friends, and we're still making business with each other. So it's a tactic that you need to learn to, like you say, roll with the punches. Do you want his business? How hard are you going to fight to keep his business?
We also have a lot of places where they see a lot of unbanked people. So how do we get services to them? We also see how we crack those locations and see how we can provide seamless financial services to them. So how do we provide these services, financial services at a very low cost, very easily accessible, and where there will be also satisfaction?
Most of our complaints are majorly on remittances, not receiving alerts, SMS, which we know it's not a PFA thing, could be network, the service providers, but we look into that and also give this client feedback and making it, achieving this at the shortest time possible.
The theme for this year's edition of the Global Customer Service Week is Celebrate Service. This underscores the role of customer service and of the people who serve and support customers on a daily basis. Christiana Amodu Otia, Trust TV News.
Despite rapid urbanization, women in Abuja are using firewood for cooking. While use of cooking gas and charcoal prevails in the city, Biton's economic situation may be responsible for the firewood used largely by low-income earners. Trust TV's Kabir Lawal examines how firewood is frequently used for cooking and the people using it despite health implications. The report.
Abuja is one of the fastest growing cities in the world. Though Abuja is home to the rich and the powerful, it is recording influx of people from all sections of the country. Little wonder firewood market is still thriving, even when a large percentage of the population is using gas for cooking. Smoke from firewood is known to be generally dangerous to health, but the population known to be at greater risk include children, teenagers, and other older adults. Also at the more risk are people with lung disease, asthma, heart disease, outdoor workers, and the homeless, among others. Despite these challenges, many who cannot afford cooking gas due to lack of adequate finance still find themselves faced with the option of firewood. Food vendors who told Trust Television why they use firewood added that they know about the health implications but don't have any other means of purchasing gas for their businesses.
I know that this firewood, they have effect because they have a smoke, and that smoke can affect somebody. Your eyesight, it can affect you. Even in your head, the fire can affect you.
Gas that they are using now, if you put it maybe 2 days, 3 days, the gas had been finished. And if you don't have money to be putting the gas, your parent cannot eat at home. But firewood, you can move to anywhere. You can meet the firewood and use it and cook the corn. Example like this corn now, if you do not use plenty firewood, you cannot be able to do. If you cook it in gas, if the corn is not done very well, it will make your stomach to pain.
Some women who insist on cooking with firewood said it is not just cheap, but the food cooked with firewood has a unique taste, which brings out the authenticity of the flavor, making it attractive to consumer.
The reason why I use firewood, because the firewood is very helpful. It helps me in many ways. It's more or less cheaper than all these their gas now. And not only that, when I use it and cook soup or stew, the taste will be more very sweet, delicious than all those gas.
A medicine vendor said apart from causing havoc to the body system, firewood affects the environment negatively and contributes to deforestation.
Then another way again, if they are using firewood in the community, it will lead to deforestation. They will end up making environment, understand? But they will end up entering bush, cutting the bush, that's trees, which will make the community now they exposed to either weathers. That is the climate change of that environment will be in the high side.
Firewood smoke contains such compounds as carbon monoxide, which are all dangerous to the health. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On the foreign scene, a former policeman killed 34 people, most of them children, because the age range of 2 to 5 years during a knife and gun rampage at a daycare center in northeastern Thailand on Thursday. According to the police, the shooter then went home, killed his wife, child, and later turned the weapon on himself. This is one of the world's worst child death toll in a massacre by a single killer in recent history. Thai police said most of the children who died at the daycare center in Uthai Sawang, a town 500 kilometers northeast of Bangkok, were stabbed to death. Police identified the attacker as a former member of the force who was dismissed from his post last year over drug allegations, and he was facing trial on drug charges. The man had been in court earlier in the day and had then gone to the daycare center to collect his child before committing the atrocious crime. And finally, in sports, 6 people, including police officers and organizers, are facing criminal charges over a football stadium crash that killed at least 131 people, Indonesia's police chief said. They will be charged with criminal negligence because causing death, which carries a maximum sentence of 5 years. The disaster happened last week when police fired tear gas at fans who invaded the pitch after a defeat. Hundreds tried to flee through the exits, which caused a deadly stampede with more than 320 other people injured. Indonesia's Deputy Minister of Children and Women Affairs said the victims included children between 3 and 17 years. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.